Welcome to the first of what I trust will be many conversations with Kylie. Okay, and this is where I invite people onto my channel to discuss everything spiritual and woo-woo with a little bit of crossover into business, mindset, spirituality, health and wellness. And if there's anything that you are ever interested in or somebody you would like to suggest for me to interview, please, I would really love and encourage your feedback. And if you have any comments or any feedback, you can put them on the bottom of this video. Okay, so today I have with me the very lovely Danielle Thiele from from Lady D Psychic Parties and Lady D Psychic. Thank you very much, Danielle, for coming along today. And Danielle is an astrologist and psychic. So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your work?
Okay, thanks for having me, inviting me on today. So basically, I'm an astrologer as well as a psychic medium, and I started with learning astrology like over 10 years ago now. And from there, I met a friend who read my chart, and she suggested that I then learn and fine tune my psychic abilities. So I never really sort of believed her that I actually was psychic. But then thinking back now, I actually was and didn't realize it. I just thought the feelings and stuff I had were normal, as they are for psychics.
Very much.
And then from there, my story just evolved from there. And now I have a business. So I do have two jobs. I have a full-time job as well as this is my side job. Hopefully one day my full-time job. And my business that I actually go around to people's houses pre-COVID and do a psychic party where I do a group reading for individuals. So everyone comes in the lounge room or a table, wherever it is, and I'll go and give them psychic readings or mediumship readings from there. Sometimes I do add the astrology if I feel like I know what star sign they are. I'll have a feeling what planet's in that star sign and give them a bit more of that. In my private readings that I do, which I do face-to-face and online, I do more the astrology readings. So sometimes people just come and see me and they don't really know what astrology is. So I tend to just, I tell them what I do. And if they're open with astrology, I'll do their chart and then they're really open for it. If they already know what it is and they've pre-booked me for that reading and they want me to write it out, I do give them an extra charge, but they'll get more because I'll actually go more in depth of the chart and give them a much more in depth of how the chart is read. So
that's terrific. Thanks for that. And I totally forgot throughout this that you're also a very talented baker. So are you still doing the catering for the psychic parties as well?
Yes, so with my parties, so my idea behind it, as I always feel like with businesses, you need to be different somehow. So I've always been taught, or I have a one of my mentors, her name was Lynn Wilson, and she always said for business you need to be 5% different. So how my business is 5% different is that I actually cater. So I have catering packages. So it can be a dinner party where I have hot finger food. Or it can be like different platters, like veggie platters, fruit platters, sandwiches, a high tea with like freshly made scones and jam and cream with slices, cupcakes. I bring drink as well. So if you wanted to make like punch, I had an afternoon tea where they wanted lemonade. So I actually made my own old-fashioned lemonade and different slices, and I just bring everything to you. So therefore, all you need is the space, and I bring everything else. So it's less work for the host.
Oh, no, that's terrific. I know that, I'm a very lazy entertainer. So knowing that somebody's going to bring everything and cater, that's definitely an added incentive. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about how you got into astrology?
Okay, so years ago now, I actually started working in a community centre in Bankstown Way, and I would actually look after I would manage the work for the doll candidates that would come in, or people that would volunteer as well. And this lady who would volunteer, she actually knew astrology. And one day we were just talking, and I think I said to her I had bad luck with relationships, and she was like, "Oh, there's no such thing as bad luck." And she then read my chart, and when she saw that I had actual Uranus in my 9th house in Sagittarius, that she was like, "Oh, you're psychic," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." As I said before, I didn't. I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And she was like, "You are." She's like, "You need to go and develop." And so from there, when she did my chart, I then wanted to learn it. So I actually got her to. I sat with her and wrote down all the names of the houses, all the planets, and I would just learn by that way. But for me, because my moon's in Capricorn, so I'm very, even though I'm an Aquarian, I'm very logical. So the way I learn, I was like, I had to label everything. And while everyone thought it was a mess, the chart, because I had all these labels underneath everything, for me, it's about putting it together. So it was just easier to learn that way, just thinking because she's very simple in how she reads the chart. Then from there, she then pushed me, and we talk. So now, because she doesn't really have any friends that do astrology, so who she met me. When we get together, we're constantly talking about like Saturn or Pluto or what's happening here or what YouTube we've seen, and we just talk about what's going on. And then from there, she also encouraged me to develop, as I said before, psychic abilities. So she actually came with me to my first circle. She never wanted to be a psychic, even though she's got Jupiter in her ninth house. She says to you, I'm not psychic, I have dreams, I get feelings.
Yeah.
But and then so she encouraged me to go on this path, and for where I am today. So I probably wouldn't have, I was meant to meet her, obviously in my chart. I had Jupiter in my 11th house, so I met new friends. And from there, it was just, we've been friends ever since. And she's even a mentor for me as well. So
that's right. So the 11th house is the friend zone, correct?
Yeah, friends in social circles.
And what was the 9th house again?
That's still psychic. It's also learning and travel. So for me, with that Uranus being there, when I do go traveling, it's often quite unexpected. Like someone will say, "Oh, how about, do you want to go over here with me?" And I'll be like, "Oh, okay." I'm a planner. I have that Capricorn moon, so I like to plan, and it's not often I get to plan actual holidays. It's usually on a whim. So it's, and with my gifts, it comes up very unexpected. So when I was doing psychometry, I remember years ago when I knew I was doing it in class, and I was sitting with my manager at work where I was working then. She's still my manager now. Moved with her. And I just said to her, I'm doing this tonight. I'm not that great at it. And she was like, what? You didn't tell me this. And she gives me her key rings, and all of a sudden I just got all this more information. So with me, with that Uranus being there, it was like all of a sudden I just get more, my abilities become more, if that makes sense.
Yes, total sense. I'm sort of like with spirit, I'm like, just go with it and just grow with it. So whatever comes, whatever happens, just get on a roll with it. Okay, so what is it that you really love about astrology?
I love its accuracy, because a lot of our, like when we channel, as I say to people, like, if I'm channeling the information for you, with my timing, I can be spot on, or I can be a bit off, because we'll get like the 3, so it's like 3 years, 3 months, or 3 days, 3 hours. But when you're looking at a chart, if you know that person's got a planet in that house, you can say to them without like assurance that yes, you're going to get a new job or pay rise within this time frame. And 99% of the time, it's going to happen. If it doesn't, you've got to look somewhere else to see why it hasn't happened. But the timing and the accuracy of it, it's as long as you've got that time of birth, that time is what makes it really happen. It's going to happen. So because like me, I'm sure other people as well, you want to know when something's going to happen. Like I like to know, I like to be prepared. So I want to know if challenge is going to happen, how long it's going to be for, what I'm aware what's happening around me, and the time frame. So
Oh, I totally agree with you with that. Timing is something that I say it's more art than science, definitely in my readings, but I'm also very practical and very grounded. So if you can give people a closer idea of timing, that's fantastic. Because sometimes too, people have waited a long time for changes to happen in their life. It's not Zoom unless there's a cat. Was that Tabitha?
No, that's Ariel.
Ariel. Hi, Ariel. And she's camera shy today. I know. Hello, darling. Oh, so cute. Okay, thanks for that. So if someone's really keen about astrology, I suppose the thing that I find a little bit daunting, and that's why I like doing the moonology, is astrology seems so huge. So if someone's really interested in learning about it, what's the best way for them to start?
Well, I said like for me, so I need everything to be quite simple.
Leaping Ariel. I
I
don't know.
know. They're
Sorry.
they're not young cats. They're quite old, but they jump around like they're kittens sometimes. Um, what was I saying? Oh, yes. So, like for me, I need things to be logic. I need it to be simple. So
Mm-hmm.
you find that you got to find the right teacher. Some
Yep.
astrologers, and when you read on the internet, they're very the way they describe things, you sort of get lost in the explanation because instead of making it just quite simple. So I find that I do. So the way how I do the chart, so for me, like Jupiter is luck, and I go on as being luck. So as some people say, it expands, but when you say people it's going to expand, they're going to be, what do you mean expands? But if you say, oh, it's luck in your house, or second house, which is your house of earnings, oh, it's going to make sense. Oh, okay, yeah, I've got luck. Obviously, there's money going to come in my earnings house. So number one, I would say don't worry too much about the star signs. Learn about the 12 houses, and
Mm-hmm.
again, keeping it simple. If you want to contact me, I am welcome to give you the 12 houses as they are. I can go through it now. It's like you've got the first house is you and your body. Your second house, earnings. It can be self-worth as well. Third house is siblings. The fourth is home and family. The fifth is relationships and children. Sixth is health. Seventh is the marriage house. Eighth is money from other people. The ninth is the travel, learning, and the psychic house, higher learning. 10 is career. 11th is friends, or social circle, we say friends. The 12th house is the hospital's hidden secret. So you keep it
All
very simple. There are
right.
more what they cover, but you just keep with those main areas. And then the planets, you keep that, you find an explanation, again, like very simple, like Jupiter, luck, Neptune, which is, my friend told me dissolve. And then as I learned more, as I saw it in, I think it was in one of my health houses, and I said, does that mean, it's like, no. If it's in a health house, it's fog. You can't find what's happening. So it's a funny planet. Like Mars is strength, but it can be anger. Venus, love or money. Again, you're just using these very simple explanations.
Mm.
Uranus, unexpected, unusual.
I've heard Uranus is technology too. Like,
Yeah, it's ruled by
yeah.
Aquarius, and Aquarians love
Mm.
technology. So it can be if you've
Yeah.
got a tenth, maybe what you're going to do in your career will be through
Mm.
technology. Again, like I think also for me, because that Uranus is in my 11th house, could be the aspect of why the astrology I like it so much as well, because that
Mm.
technology aspect. So yeah, but you just make it very simple so you can put it together, and then
Yep.
from there you'll then learn the star signs,
Mm-hmm.
because the star sign I think much more broader. You're learning personalities and traits.
Yes.
So
Mm.
I start with the houses and planets.
I like that. So instead of getting into, the complexity of astrology and everything, just find a way to simplify it and make it understandable for you. So
Yes,
sort of personalize it a little bit more.
exactly. Yeah.
Mm. And I think I would say with anything, I know for myself, I'm a lifelong learner. It's something that if you're interested in it, things tend to come along. Like spirit has that synchronistic way of lining you up with things. So I look at it, it's not something you're ever going to know everything about, which that intrigues me because I'm like, yes, I can expand into it and grow into it. So yeah, astrology sounds like something that you'll constantly be learning about.
But even this year, I've been looking at how just recently how like just with the planets this year with 2020, and being psychic, like when you're psychic, you're in tune more with the planets and you feel it. So I
Mm-hmm.
can actually see how the planets are working this year together in what's happened, and I have a bit of a deeper understanding. But also, I've started looking at how Mars, like, so with Mars being angry, I was talking to my friend and was like, well, is that how your anger? So for me, my Mars is in Libran. I'm very calm. It doesn't take,
Mm-hmm.
it takes a lot to get me that point where I'm angry. But being in Libran, if something that's injustice, that will be my trigger.
Mm.
Where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get. So that's something new this year that I've actually started like, wondering about. And then you test it out on people or yourself. And the same
Mm.
with Venus as well. Like Venus is how you love. If you're got your
Yep.
Venus fire sign, you're more of a passionate lover. If you're in an air
Yeah.
like me, or I think mine's an earth, man, it's in Capricorn, I'm a bit more reserved.
Maybe a little slow to warm up. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those earth signs.
I'm not going to be as fiery as a as a like a Leo or something like that. So that's you go deeper, and that's what
I'd
I like.
say with that Mars and Libra too, what I get from that is if you do shift into anger, you can very quickly balance that back out
Yeah, knowing your
and
trigger.
diffuse it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Oh, very good. See, I love Mars in Aries. I think it's fantastic. And I'm like everyone's around going, oh no, like I'm very aware because I'm a fire sign and all the rest in Aries. So I'm very aware of how it can trigger my anger. I can get, rageful, not good. Yet I love it because it's strength for me. Mars is like going to war for me. The sign is like getting motivated and being, having that, my desires and passions ignited. So I find, my energy goes up and down. So Mars being in Aries means I'll have consistent strength and motivation. That's for me. So I'm looking at the positive
well,
always.
sometimes I think like my sister. Oh, she's again. My sister had Mars, and I thought, oh, what's going to happen? And she was, and it became a strength. We did more stuff together, and it was better for me that way. As
Yep.
sometimes I look at my chart, and if I'm getting angry, and if it's in a certain house where I'm feeling a bit more anger, I'll
Hmm.
put it down to that. So it depends. I say Mars a double-edged sword. You're going to get a strength, or it could be anger. I always tell people it can be this or this.
What was that again? Mars with what?
It's a
Didn't
double-edged sword.
double-edged sword. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is a takeaway that we could give our viewers today? I believe you might have a resource that you could chat to us about.
Yeah. So this is the book that I recommend because it's very, as I said, simple and easy to read, and it uses those words that I was saying to describe them. So even when I was bought this for my friend, and even she was like, "Yeah, it's more how we read it, how we read the chart. It's just very simple to learn, understand." And even with I wasn't too sure about something the other week, so went back to this book and I found out even like a new layer that for men, Venus is what they look for in a partner, and women,
Oh,
it's where your Mars is. It's where women look for what they look for in a partner. So
very interesting.
just by the book. So I always use this as a guide. So when I'm doing a chart, if I'm actually writing it all out, I always refer back to this book. So
So
it's Astrology
that's the
Bible
Astrology Bible. Yep.
by Judy Hall.
Judy Hall. I love Judy Hall's work. I have the Crystal Bible and all of that. She has a lot of YouTube videos too, a free series. I wrote this great meditation with her from Crystal Stuff. So yeah, if it comes from Judy, I think that would be a terrific resource and a great takeaway for our viewers. All
Also,
right. So,
remember,
sorry,
just
go on.
just remembered, if you want to learn a free chart software, I use astro.com because the
Yes.
charts, and when you go to your chart selection, you need to go to, or I always use the natal chart with transits because and it's a free resource. So you don't need to actually spend money on a chart and looking at your transits and natal chart. Just use that free resource.
I believe when you go on there too, because I got my free chart from there. See, that's the thing about astrology. You go and get your chart, but it means nothing if you don't know what you're doing. But it's good to have, and that's something that you could perhaps take into a reading, or when you get astrology readings, you can refer back to. Um, you need to know your time of birth. Now, if you don't know your time of birth, I've heard Yasmin say pick 6 a.m. So have you found that to be accurate?
No, you need a time. So for me,
You
what
need
I
the time.
tell people is, sorry, the cat's just gone crazy.
Mm.
Um, there's
As
three
long as
ways.
she doesn't knock your
She
computer over.
just got the scratching post on the. She's not. I think she's okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Three things you can do. One, you can actually go to your hospital that you're born in and
Yep.
ask if they can go into their records and find out.
Oh, that's a great tip.
There might be a small fee, but
Mm-hmm.
that's always a good one. Another tip: if you have a good kinesiologist, I say a good one because there are some out there who obviously aren't as good as the others. They can actually find out your time of birth, like muscle testing you.
All right.
So yeah, so
And it's because I can't remember the name of what are the big tomes that you use for astrology. But it's because um, isn't the astrology shifting every 3 minutes? Is that right?
It can be
degrees?
yeah, or even 15 minutes that it can sort of chart like that. It's more about not the planets in the sky, like in the star signs. It's more about the houses
Right.
that's going to change, and it's roughly it can be up to 15 minutes where they can change. So that's why it's very important. If you've got a family member that remembers and knows, that's great. Like I remember my mum when I was younger. For some reason, when I was little, I'd always ask her when I was born, and she always said 8:20. So I had it like in my mind always.
Yes.
But if I think I asked her recently about my brother and sister of their exact time, because with their times, it's I have a roundabout, I could kind of know, but she can't think of, she doesn't even remember the exact time. So for some reason, when I was little, I was like always asking her, when was I born? What time?
Because it's usually written, like for my children, it's written on the card that the nurse and the midwife comes in and writes on. But for me, I was really lucky because I don't have hardly any mementos. I do have one of those cards, but I had the hospital band is in my baby photo, and I can see the time on it. So I was like, they didn't have them for my sisters. I don't know what time they were born. Roughly, they might. But yeah, I think things are written down, recorded much better now. But if you're going back, a few generations, it could be something. It's a bit tricky to find out.
Yeah.
Okay, so now if people are really intrigued and they would like to have a psychic reading with you or an astrology reading for you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
They can either go through my Instagram, which is Lady D Psychic, the Instagram handle, or Facebook is Lady D Psychic Parties. I'm on YouTube, which is Danielle Psychic, and my website is ladydpsychicparties.com. So you can use any of those social media outlets or my website to get in contact me. If you want a face-to-face reading, I do them at the Rustic Owl Angel Centre. So you can, if you're in Sydney, it's in St Mary's, you can always go onto her Facebook page and book and just say you want a reading with Danielle on Saturday mornings.
Terrific. So what was your YouTube channel again? Because I want to mention that you do monthly horoscopes for people for each of the star signs. So what was your YouTube channel again where people can find those?
It's Danielle Psychic. So I do a bit on a chart. I do a brief thing on your chart as a collective, and then I use the oracle or tarot cards to actually go in depth. And I give a. You notice when I do them, I sometimes look a bit spaced out because I'm actually channeling some of the information as well. So you'll see my face look a bit spaced out sometimes. It's because it's just channeling when I'm doing it as well. So I do both. So I'm doing mixing the psychic with the chart as I'm doing it.
Terrific. I found those really accurate and I love doing that. I do my weekly reading and then I go and, follow up with all the people that I like to watch their weekly readings. And then I always like to know the astrology. I think that's really helpful. Thank you so much for coming and doing this conversation with Kylie today. As she said, the first of what I trust will be many. I really appreciate your time and I would just want to say thank you very, very much and wish you all the best with all of your astrology.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.